Good Friday morning. Ball State students came back to the classroom this week. Catch up on your neighbor's spring break.
And the Fashion Industry Studies Club is collaborating with Ball Bearing Magazine. Find out more about the club's element of style and sustainability.
Our weather this week, we're tracking a severe weather front tonight and into tomorrow. So make sure keep get the coffee ready and open up those eyes. You're waking up with Cardinal Weather.
From Ball State Unified Media, you're waking up with Cardinal Weather, live from the Ball State Weather Center.
Good Friday morning to you. You're waking up with Cardinal Weather. I'm Joe Sawicki.
And I'm Hunter Luzader.
So we have a pretty active weekend of weather coming up.
Yeah, you definitely need to keep an eye on the radar, especially tonight into tomorrow.
Yeah, let's find out more in First Weather with Megan.
So current temperatures here in Muncie is currently 55 degrees, but pretty warm all in central Indiana and southern Indiana. But it's pretty cold up those by Fort Wayne, 36 degrees, pretty steep temperature gradient going across Indiana. You can see that here. In our viewing area, we can even see that gradient just barely north of Muncie, 45 to 55. That's a 10-degree difference. Here, just the county over, it's pretty big. And we see that while our outdoor temperature today is going to be rapidly getting warm here later in the day, going all the way up to upper 70s by the end of the day. Pretty warm for March. Setting of our 24-hour temperature change, 20-degree difference in temperature for the next 24 hours. That is massive for March this time of year. And so, looking for the warm weather, but unfortunately with that warm weather comes severe weather.
So we just got back from spring break, and what did you do for your spring break, Hunter?
I mean, I was mostly at work, but I mean, I did take a few walks at it. Was starting to warm up a little bit.
Yeah. Megan, what did you do for your spring break?
I actually went on a cruise for my spring break in the Caribbean, nice tropical weather, and then I came back here and it was also warm and sunny, so pretty good.
I know,
I've had
thank
pretty good weather luck.
Thank goodness that warmth was back here. Well, thank you, Megan. As spring season gets closer, many are already putting away those winter coats here in Muncie. NewsLink Indiana's Braylon Judy has more.
Here in Muncie, we are seeing the warmest temperatures ever this year. Notice how I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt, which is something I haven't done in a while. Today, I'm going to go around campus and ask students about their spring break and their opinion on the spring weather. With spring break behind us, students expect to come back to the cold weather here at Ball State. Instead, the opposite has sprung. Today, with a high of 69 degrees and spring in the air, everyone is out and about. But it's not just for classes. Students are skating, playing football, taking photos, and relaxing under trees, all without a coat on.
The weather's great. Now that it's getting warmer out, I think it just brings a lot more joy in my life and everybody else, because you see just campuses popping, more people are out, so it's great. I love it.
To enjoy the day, SGA student service members Felina Evett and Evelyn Brooks hand out goodie bags at the Scramble Light for St. Patrick's Day.
It's a beautiful day. I think students are more likely to come to class and we can greet them and see them, and they're probably in a much better mood if the weather's nice.
The bags themselves promote safe alcohol consumption for the upcoming holiday.
So this is specifically kind of like alcohol safety, so just making sure that everyone is safe and have the right phone numbers to call, as well as tips, and we just have little goodies in there too that'll just draw people in. So.
As winter closes its doors and spring begins to bloom, make sure to enjoy every second of this great weather. In Muncie, Braylon Judy, NewsLink, Indiana.
With spring break over and summer break on its way, let's hope that it stays warm outside.
When you hear the word elements, what often comes to mind? Is it fire, water?
How about fashion? NewsLink Indiana's Abby Urban met with the Fashion Club to get a closer look.
Color, texture, patterns, and silhouette. All elements of fashion that the Fashion Industry Studies Club, or FISC, believes creates a cohesive outfit. Through the ball bearings issue, The Elementals, students in on-campus clubs were tasked with breaking down their favorite things into elements, Built on the idea of sustainability and upcycling, FISC's future president believes this issue of ball bearings was a perfect fit for them.
We, again, don't buy anything, so this is all through like models who bring their own clothes. I don't think we really buy anything at all. We all use donated decorations, props, anything like that, just to really create like a sense of we're not buying anything, we're creating with what we have.
FISC was given 8 pages highlighting both the club and the new sustainability fashion class.
We wanted to really try to focus in, even though we are doing a partnership, we wanted to like give Fisk's edition of the elements.
The main goal of the photo shoot was to create outfits with props and various materials to elevate the original piece of clothing. And although this concept and issue has many layers, the Ball Bearings editor-in-chief feels it can all be summed up into one word.
Visionary. I think that we're doing a lot of things that are kind of stepping outside of our comfort zone and trying to think outside of the box of just like not trying to replicate other things that we've done and instead trying to have more unique experiences.
Through this photo shoot for the Elementals issue, FISC hopes to showcase sustainability and prove that style really comes from the heart. In Muncie, Abby Urban, Newslink, Indiana.
The Elements issues will be printed on April the 15th, with a launch party following on the 17th.
Coming up, see what popular business opened in Muncie this week.
That's after Your Weather Now.
Welcome back. As you're waking up on this Friday, March 14th across our region, 55 here locally in Muncie, 62 in Kansas City, 66 in Dallas-Fort Worth, much cooler out west, 37 in Denver, but you notice those temperatures very warm for this March morning here. That's going to set the stage for some severe weather, but right now we're going to look at those today's high temperatures. 81 in Dallas-Fort Worth, 65 in Kansas City, 74 all the way up to Minneapolis. Like I mentioned, mid-70s all the way up to the upper Great Lakes, so definitely something that's going to give that fuel for severe weather later today across the Midwest here. Radar right now not showing anything, very, very quiet this morning, only a few high clouds across eastern Tennessee, but that is not the full story here. If we look at our watches and warnings across our region and across the entire United States, really lit up across the board with different sort of hazards here. We're going to look at the Midwest first. This darker sort of gold color is a high wind advisory, which indicates those winds of about 50 to 55 miles an hour along the Lake Michigan riverfront. Then we have a red flag warning and high wind alerts out here in the Kansas City area and continuing down into the Red River Valley here. So fire risk going to be apparent throughout most of the region, all the way from the Rio Grande Valley all the way up to the Mississippi here behind that low pressure system that's moving through our region. Meanwhile, out west, winter weather still has its grasp on the Intermountain West and especially the Rockies here with those winter weather advisories and winter weather alerts throughout the West Coast. Now, we've been talking about severe weather, and today is going to be one of the bigger severe weather events we've seen so far this year here. The SPC has our day one outlook, a moderate risk for the mid-Mississippi Valley, places like St. Louis all the way up into southern Iowa. This is a 4 out of 5 risk here, highlighting that risk for damaging winds, tornadoes, hail, and possibly some severe weather, even into tomorrow across the Mid-South. So we're going to break that down here right now, looking at that precision cast. We see that low pressure begin to form Friday evening here, and that cold front begins to form along the Ozarks, moving northeast, and you start to see this big Boeing line of storms moving across central Illinois, where we could see some damaging winds, 60, 65, maybe even 70 miles an hour here. And that threat continues through tomorrow as that cold front moves across the Mid-South. Places like Jackson, Birmingham, Montgomery under the gun for severe weather tomorrow afternoon, before the system moves offshore and we seem to calm down by the time we get to Sunday night. Now, speaking of that fire threat, talking about those red flag warnings, behind that system, those winds are going to be rapidly approaching into dry conditions across the Red River Valley here, and that's going to cause extreme fire danger across most of the region, from Oklahoma City down to Wichita Falls, all the way out to Lubbock and Amarillo. Extreme fire danger possible across the region. Any sort of small fire will be picked up by those winds and could spread extremely rapidly. Now, we even have this sort of little pocket here that's gray by Wichita. That's actually highlighting the possibility for dry thunderstorms, which we don't really see that often, which means those thunderstorms could develop without convection, which leads to lightning and thunder even without any sort of rainfall near the Wichita area. So kind of a whole variety of stuff happening. Really active weather pattern here in the middle of March.
Yeah, with all the stuff happening this weekend, it's a little worrying. I hope everyone stays safe. Well, thank you, Noah. Discount carrier Spirit Airlines is out of bankruptcy. That's according to the Wall Street Journal. The budget airline filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in November after several years of losses. Its planned merger last year with JetBlue was blocked by a federal judge. A portion of its fleet was also grounded due to an engine defect. Spirit told the Journal that the bankruptcy allowed it to reduce debt by nearly $800 million. Investors also provided $350 million to support the newly reorganized company.
Earlier this week, the YMCA near Muncie Central opened its doors to the community. This has been an ongoing story that we've been covering for quite some time now.
Newslink Indiana's Demar Robinson has followed the story since the beginning and is here to wrap up the catching story.
A few years ago, the space behind me was just a plot of land, but today, it's a hub of activity. The new YMCA marks the end of over a half a decade planning process and the start of a new life for the Muncie community.
Opening its doors earlier this week, the YMCA offers modern fitness facilities, multifunctional gymnasium with many basketball rims, an indoor track, and a state-of-the-art aquatic center. There are also wellness programs, community spaces, and after-school opportunities for students. Located right next to Muncie Central High School, its impact is already being felt by the students and staff.
We see the Y as an extension of those extracurricular opportunities where if they can get involved, then we know that they're going to be more likely to have a value of education, and then that experience with being involved in the Y will ultimately add value to their experience here.
The pool in the new Y also stands as Delaware County's newest pool, which is a big deal with most in the county being decades old.
This is something that isn't a summer pool. This is a year-round facility that's going to be open and available to use for all of Delaware County.
The opening is also a really huge deal for those who have worked on this project for years. Seeing the doors open and crossing the finish line was a real moment of pride and joy.
I've worked on this project for 9 years. So today is, I don't even have the words for it. Everybody's work, everybody's dedication, the hard work, the donations, everything has come together for this moment today. And it was amazing to open the front doors for the first time and just have everybody stroll in. It was awesome.
It's a smiling face, or how the environment is kind of changed behavior. It's just really exciting to see, and so much community is happening here. And we're just super thankful and grateful for all the community support that made this possible.
The doors on the YMCA may be open, but the real impact starts as a community makes their space their own. In Muncie, Demar Robinson, Newslink, Indiana.
The Y encourages people of all ages to consider giving them a visit in the near future.
Coming up, find out what cuts were made to a national program.
That's after your weather now.
Welcome back. The time is 8:16 and you're taking a live look at the site of the new Performing Arts Center. All right, well, let's take another look at that local weather with Megan. We'll get back to Megan in a little bit.
Moving forward, the Trump administration will have to look for a new person to run the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Dr. Dave Weldon, a nomination as the CDC director, has been withdrawn as a result of yesterday's hearing with the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pension Committee has been canceled. Weldon says a White House official told him he did not have enough Republican support to make it through the committee's vote. Some lawmakers and Trump officials have voiced concerns about Weldon. Weldon, who was in Congress for 14 years, has questioned the safety of vaccines.
Coming up, learn about some new faces with BSU football and see who is playing today.
That's after your weather now.
Welcome back to Cardinal Weather. I'm Calvin Scott with sports. This week on what's new in the shoe, News Link Indiana's Dakota Atwood catches up with some new faces.
Welcome back to What's New in the Shoe. This week, not one athlete, but two athletes joining me. What's the offseason been like for you guys?
Off-season's been a real good experience so far. Obviously, it's always a grind the first couple months with off-season workouts and running and lifting. Coach Greenstone does a really good job with our program. He keeps us fresh while still pushing us. First 2 days in the books, I mean, we've been real excited. It's been nice to play football. We've had OTAs and all that throughout January and February, but it's nice to finally get out here with everyone.
And then I'll ask you, what's it like to get the pads back on?
Yeah, it's really exciting just being back out here and being able to put the pads and helmets back on and just playing some football. I mean, that's what we all love to do. So everyone's fired up to get out here and just get straight to work.
And I'll ask both of you guys this question. It's a question everyone wants to know. You guys have transferred over from Butler. Coach Yu was at Butler. What is he like as a head coach?
In my personal opinion, Coach Yu's the same guy day in and day out. Doesn't matter, good day, bad day on the field. His door's always open. And with my experience, he's more of an offensive coach, but he's real detail-oriented. Whether it's practice or in game, like he can't focus on everyone, but if he sees something, like he'll give you a little thing to work on, to see. But I would say his staff is like a counterpart of him. They're all got some parts of him, but they're also slightly different. That makes everyone better.
Yeah, Coach Hugh's built a great culture that we had at Butler, and he's bringing it straight here to Muncie. And he's built a winning and very family-oriented culture, and I'm so glad to be a part of it. And I love what he's been doing, and he's leading us in the right direction.
Mike's both of your guys'. I'll start with you first.
All right, yeah. I mean, first and foremost, I just want to thank God for blessing me with the opportunity to be here at Ball State and have a great coaching staff around me and great teammates that have really been super open and brought me in as a brother. So I'm just grateful for all my blessings and for being a part of this culture here at Ball State.
Yeah, I'm just really thankful for this opportunity. It's always great to be here, to be around everyone. It's a good conference. Really want to shout out the tight ends. I mean, they took me in like family right away. I've built a lot of good relationships with them and continue to get to know them better, both on the field and off. Has been really great so far. So I'm just really thankful for all of them.
Again, special thanks to the football programs Ashton Naraki and Drew Kaysen Sr. for taking time to join us. Ball State women's basketball has been on a roll since the beginning of the season with great accomplishments. From senior Allie Becky to becoming the 8th player in women's college basketball with 1,500 points, 700 rebounds, and 650 assists, and Linnell Austin reaching 1,000 career points. The Cardinals are in Cleveland right now, set up against Kent State in the second round later today. This is more than just a game for the Cardinals. This is a vengeance. Kent State ended the Cardinals' tournament hopes last year and went on to win the MAC tournament and represent the conference in the NCAA tournament. This season has built up to this very moment, and the Cardinals are hungry. Here's how the Cardinals advanced to the championship game. Alex Richards has to be an interior presence on both sides of the ball against the Golden Flashes, which shouldn't be a problem with her shooting 46% from the field. On and off ball pressure has to be ensued by Mary Kafer, as she performs defensively well against Kent State, averaging 2 steals and 2.5 blocks a game. Lastly, Allie Becky has to show up today being a leader on the team offensively. Kent State is the last team the Ball State Cardinals lost to this season. So the Cardinals have to send the Golden Flashes home and move on in March. With St. Patrick's Day around the corner, we're tipping off our hats to the greatest gingers in sports history. These redheads brought the luck of the Irish and a fiery flair to the game. Blake Griffin dunked his way to fame, proving that gingers can fly higher than a leprechaun on a trampoline. Shamus from WWE wrestled with grit, while Brian Scalabrine, the White Mamba, schooled us on the court. Andy Dalton threw touchdown passes with carrot top precision, and Mark McGuire smashed homers like he was swinging a shillelagh. Even Ed Sheeran's soulful tunes get the crowd hyped. From red-hot dunks to grand slams, the Gingers ruled the court and field. Have a safe, ginger-fueled St. Paddy's Day weekend, and go Cards. Coming up, learn about different types of thunderstorms. That's after you, Weather Now.
active weekend of weather coming up. I'm pretty interested to hear about a little bit about thunderstorms.
Yeah, no, especially for people who are curious about how thunderstorms are formed. Perfect day to learn about it.
Yeah, well, let's find out more about thunderstorms with Breaking Down Science with Rachel.
Thank you so much, you guys. As we take a look, as we start to head into spring, continue into our springtime, we see more weather such as rainfall and thunderstorms, but did you know that there are multiple types of thunderstorms? Today, I am breaking down the science of these different types of storms. So the first storm we have is a single cell, and a single cell is a very short-lived storm. It is typically 30 to 60 minutes long, and it is created from updraft in summer heating, and it typically produces downpours and lightning. The next one we have is a multicell. In a multicell, this is more of a common one that we typically see, and it is created from the maturing stage of a thunderstorm, and it sort of builds off of each other from the gust fronts and updraft, hence the multicell from the build up. And this buildup of the singular cell is typically 30 to 60 minutes, but the whole cell as a whole lives to be an hour long. And this typically produces hail, damaging winds, and occasional tornadoes and flooding. The next one I have is a squall line. And a squall line is just a long line of thunderstorms, and this is typically assisted with damaging winds and heavy rainfall. And it is very long, it is very short, and it'll move through your area pretty quickly, and it is typically 10 to 20 miles long. The next one I have is a supercell, and this is more of the longer living thunderstorms, and it's my personal favorite. And it is created through tilted updraft rotation, and you could probably see this from an airplane's point of view because it is 50,000 feet tall. And down here I drew a little tornado because it doesn't even compare to this mesocyclone, this rotation that we see within the middle of the storm. And the next one is a derecho, and a derecho, I want to emphasize, is not actually a derecho until the storm has actually passed the system or the area that you're living in, and it is just a long-lived widespread of windstorms, and it is often associated with bands of thunderstorms and rain, and it typically moves in one direction, and it is 240 miles long, and it can gust up to 58 miles per hour. So the next time you see a thunderstorm, try and think, oh, what kind of thunderstorm am I looking at? Thanks. Back to you.
So like we keep saying, we've got a lot of weather coming up this weekend.
Yeah, you got to be weather ready for tonight and tomorrow.
Absolutely. Let's find out more with Megan.
Seeing our current temperatures once again, 55 here in Muncie still. Very cold up in Fort Wayne, 36 degrees. Pretty steep temperature gradient going from northern Indiana to southern Indiana. With still being very cold up in the north, but pretty warm down here in the south. We see this here with our 24-hour temperature change map of a 20-degree difference in temperature over the past 24 hours. Absolutely insane for this time of year. We're going to see absolutely insane continuing into today. High of 76 today, very warm for this time of year in early March. We could be cracking 80 today, possibly with the sun later this afternoon, which would be crazy, but probably not, but one can hope. Well, also today, very windy today, gust of up to 45 miles per hour. There is a wind advisory going into effect at 5 o'clock today. That'll be lasting until 4 o'clock tomorrow, and these gusting winds are going to be lasting into the overnight, getting worse throughout the day. And we see here that wind advisory through central Indiana going into southern Indiana. We see here those winds gusting potentially up to 55 miles per hour, which is crazy. And we see here our wind 40 miles per hour around 1 a.m. this morning, and we're going to see those winds continue to increase around 52 miles per hour at 6:30 in the morning. We're seeing some storms move through the area, and these winds are going to continue to stay high into 5 o'clock tomorrow when our wind advisory expires. Tonight, around 60 degrees, and it's going to be stormy. We are at risk for severe weather here with our winds continuing to be high, 80% chance of scattered storms in the area. We see here moderate risk of severe weather out to our west in Missouri and Illinois area, And here in Muncie, we have right down the middle, we have a slight risk here in the area, and with this slight risk, we are going to see threats for all modes of severe weather, damaging winds, hail, and possibly even some tornadoes with this line of storms that is going to be moving through tonight in the early morning hours of Saturday. We see here increasing cloud cover throughout the day on Saturday, and we see here around 5, 6 in the morning that line of storms coming through, bringing our greatest risk for severe weather here. So make sure you are prepared to receive all kinds of warnings. You never know what might happen with these kind of storms in this environment. We see these storms lasting throughout the day on Saturday, so make sure you stay weather aware all day Saturday. We see here those storms lasting all day throughout Saturday, and these storms will be lasting into Sunday morning with our wind gusts continuing to stay high throughout the day. Going into our 7-day forecast, Saturday and Sunday, rainy and stormy, and by Monday, we're on St. Patrick's Day, it's going to be 60 degrees after a cool down on Sunday. Beautiful sunny St. Patrick's Day with a warm continuing throughout the week on Tuesday, warming up to 67 by Wednesday, but we do have some rain chances on Wednesday night going into Thursday morning with a big cool down on Thursday, back down onto the 40s, unfortunately, for the week.
So with all this weather going on and a lot of wind, it's probably not worth it to even bother doing your hair this weekend.
No, I never do my hair. That's always super straight, especially with the humidity we may be getting with all this rain. It's just any curl is just going to go right flat.
Yeah. What do you think about the weather this weekend?
I mean, you definitely stay weather aware. I'm probably not going to do my hair, in case, get those rain showers coming through, can't mess it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Megan. That's all for Cardinal Weather this Friday morning. Thank you for joining us.
We'll see you next week. Have a great rest of your Friday and a fantastic and safe weekend.